Okay, hi guys. So sorry. I have not been active. I literally kept forgetting, and I had a lot going on like the last week of February. I had literally crammed all of my volunteering events and like work meetings and everything into one week so I could get started on my new job. The following week, I got a new job. Woohoo! I work in a salon. I'm sorry I sound disgusting. I have on a mask and I'm sick. So, yeah. But you know what? The best part about being sick is that when I'm sick, I don't have appetite. And when I don't have appetite, I can't eat. And when I can't eat, I lose weight. So by the end of next week, I'll probably be 230 pounds. Yes. No, that's actually horrible. Do not congratulate me. That sounds like an eating disorder, which is really sad because I do have one, but it's overeating, not undereating, I think. Okay, since I have been gone, this episode is going to be a little longer because I'm going to cover two topics from the last two Saturdays that I missed, and then one topic for today. And then I promise after this, I'll be back on the grind. I may potentially record on Saturdays and then upload on Sundays instead now because my job does have me work Saturdays. Even though I can still do it on Saturday, I just have to figure out like the best way to do that because the recording part is easy because I don't edit this and it's like raw and unfiltered because who cares, like I'm not a big celebrity, whatever. It's just that sometimes the uploading process does take like a little bit of time. um Sorry, that was disgusting. The uploading process does take a little bit of time because I try to put that little pink heart thing on it since I don't know how to do any fancy editing, but I'm still trying to figure that out. So we do have, after today, we'll have four more topics until I can start adding guests, and then I'm gonna see how I can like start integrating some editing or maybe like even some videoing if the guests want a video, and like put that on the channel for you guys. So three of our questions today are from Sarah. Shout out to Sarah. Sarah is so gorgeous and beautiful. And when I have enough money to take Sarah on a date, I'm gonna try. Even though we might just be friends, that's okay though. She's so sweet and cute and gorgeous, and I just want to say I appreciate you for all of these questions, Sarah, because it helps me give me things to talk about rather than just randomly ranting to you guys. I don't know if anybody wants to hear this, but an update on the past 2 weeks of my life is I had did like a lot of volunteering and I loved it. It was amazing. And I took a lot of exams and I passed one. I passed one exam. I literally only had 10 points off of the exam, so I got a 40 out of 50, which is amazing because I had did minimal studying and I already know the questions that I missed, so I'm not that mad. And then on my other exam, I got a 24 out of 35, which is not that bad. That's only 11. And it's the same thing. I only had like minimal time to study. I'm just really worried about my biology exam because I actually did try to study hard for that one, but the questions were really difficult. But I sat in one of my friend's biology class, and she takes an upper division class, so that helped with some of the questions. And I think I'm gonna keep doing that. Like I was joking with her, but I think I'm actually gonna start sitting in on that class with her because I feel like it's gonna help me a lot. If I do that, it'll help me with the exam because the material is kind of the same right now, I think. Um, and then on top of that, I, oh God, I messed up really bad, you guys. I got super drunk and then I somehow ended up at this guy's house that I used to talk to, and we we like kissed each other and stuff, and we shouldn't have done that stuff. But that's fine because um now I realize, I guess, like it's just not meant to be. Like I need to give it up and I need to give him up. But I'm not gonna get all into that because he actually does watch this channel, and like I don't like supremely hate him, I guess. I just, yeah, whatever. um, and then I literally downloaded a dating apps. I deleted all my social media on Valentine's Day, which was amazing. And I've literally been chilling. Like, I've been occupying myself with so much homework and so much, like volunteer events, and like I've just been occupying myself with a lot of stuff. And on my phone, like, I downloaded Candy Crush again, so I'm on level 1400 something. And I also have I just recently downloaded dating apps again, just for fun, like literally to like yell at men through the keyboard, or to like joke around and be silly. I don't think I'm actually gonna take them seriously, because I'm just really not in the mood for anything super serious right now. I think with a man, at least, like maybe a woman, I'll give a woman a chance, but right now I feel like emotionally I'm always going to be ready to be in a relationship, but that's just because I'm a hopeless romantic and I'm extremely in love with love. But realistically, I know it's not a good idea for me to try to pursue anything extremely heavily romantic, um because of that guy I'm still hung up on. Nobody heard that, but that's okay. uh, so I downloaded my dating apps again, and oh, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at these little sound waves, and they keep going up. I'm so sorry for yelling in you guys' ear. That's super rude. Um, but yeah, I downloaded all of my dating apps again, and it's been kind of funny. Like, it's been really fun. Like, literally just chatting it up with people. Like, the first day I had downloaded my dating apps, I matched with this white man who literally started reciting Playboy Cardi verses to me, and I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting. Like, thank you. So they've just been really fun and funny. Like, it's kind of like a social media outlet without actually having like the extent of social media on my phone. Um, so yeah, and I also put it on my iPad, which limits my time on being on the dating apps. So I'm not on the dating apps during class time, and I'm not on the dating apps during work time, because my job doesn't have Wi-Fi, unfortunately, and my iPad isn't set up for like mobile data or something. I don't know how to do that. I need to figure out how to do that though, because it could come in handy if I want to do my homework at work. But whatever, I digress. Yeah, it's so they've been pretty cool and pretty funny and interesting. Yeah. So that's mainly what's been going on, like literally nothing too crazy or wild. Um just a little bit of fun, I guess, whatever. And I also changed my hair color, so yeah. That's about it. I hope you guys this week's have been really good. And if you ever want to comment like how your week is going or anything random, you can literally comment it. Don't put any hate comments though, because if YouTube bans you, like, I'm not gonna help you get unbanned, because you shouldn't put mean comments under anyone's profiles anyway. If you don't like what I have to say, you literally don't have to listen till the end, because you can't exit out of the app. Like, so if you don't like it, then just don't listen to the rest of it. But don't send me hate mail, please, because then I'll be like, what the fuck, and I'll have to block you, and I don't want to have to block anyone. Yeah. um Oh, I guess I can include the fact that I got fucking sick. I think somebody on my floor got me sick, because everybody on that floor seems sick as fuck. And I'm sorry for all of the F words. I'm literally so sick right now. It's disgusting. And I can't wait to not be sick, because I literally had to miss work, which makes me really sad, because I love my job and I'm also broke, and I need to save up for an apartment so I can get the heck out of the dorms. Okay, into the questions. We have three questions, and I think I'll just name the question first and then talk about it, and then do it that way, rather than naming all three questions right now, because like, they're hard to remember and you guys might forget, whereas they're right in front of me, so I'll remember. But yeah, let's keep everything fair. So, question number 1 is, What are the effects that love slash relationships have on mental health? Um, I think that one of the effects can be um delusion, and I know a lot of people have been throwing that word around heavily, but I think delusion is one of the effects that can happen. I think that your perception of reality starts to get extremely skewed once you throw everything out of the window for the idea of a relationship or the idea that you're in love with someone, because you'll do anything to maintain that and you'll do anything to keep that. And it's really hard to be one of those people that gives up, that knows when it's time to give up. Because I'll just say, I don't know if she was asking for my personal experience, but I'll just give like a personal experience example. Like, I have always been like a person to give it up really fast if it's not something extremely serious. Like, I don't have a problem like giving it up, but if I'm extremely like attached to you, then I started doing this thing like maybe I'm so sorry, that was disgusting. Maybe 2 years ago, I started doing this thing where my best friend told me maybe I should try to practice not giving it up so easily. Like, maybe I should try to work things out. And I took that in an entirely different way, I guess. And so in my head, working it out meant like trying to stick through it. Like, even if things are horrible and even if things are super shit, if you really love them, which was not helpful at all. Like, it was really good advice, but I think that the way that my brain took it and formulated it into executing the idea like was not good. So I found myself in situations where if I knew it was time to give it up, I didn't want to because I had an extreme attachment with this person and I cared for this person a lot. So, yeah, I think delusion is an effect because it starts to make you think that anything is possible and that you can have exactly what you want the way that you want it because love is enough, like the relationship is enough, but it's not. Another effect I would say is attachment. Whether or not you do have medically documented attachment or detachment issues or abandonment or non-abandonment issues, it's always it's always a problem of attachment or detachment or abandonment, like the fear of abandonment or no fear of abandonment. Like, because this is a person that you're going to be spending a lot of your time with, and this is a person you're going to dedicate a lot of your time and a lot of your emotions to. So it makes sense to get attached. It makes sense to feel like you can't breathe without them, you can't live without them, you can't sleep without them, you can't eat without them, because you do a lot of that stuff together. So it's like, if we do all of this together, why would I want to go to a place where we don't do it at all, you know? Um, it just makes it really hard to maintain a sense of independence when you're in a relationship, because no matter how much you tell yourself like we're two individual people, sometimes you don't want to be an individual person, sometimes you don't want to do that, sometimes you literally just want to be together and you want to stay together, and that's okay, like that's fine. I totally get it. I'm one of those people. I have extreme attachment issues and I have extreme abandonment issues. So once I get attached to you, like that's that. That's it. I really don't yeah, like it starts to become like a clingy thing, and then attached like at the hip, like I want to see you every day, I want to hang out every day, I wouldn't mind if we talked every day, like things like that. But then on the other hand, it becomes an avenue for self-sabotage, because it's like, okay, I'm losing a sense of my independence, this person is going to leave me eventually, I might as well leave them first. um so and that's not good, like that becomes a whole thing as well. um and then another effect could be anger. If you're this person is essentially a stranger until you decide otherwise. And even when you do decide otherwise, sometimes you remember this person was a stranger to me. This person, like, I never knew this person before I got romantically involved with them, and I'll probably want nothing to do with them when I am done being romantically involved with them. So even if you don't think that thought entirely, like, your brain knows that, so it makes it easier when you guys are, say, you're cooped up together for a week and you've never, got any sense of what it's like to live with each other or to be in each other's space for a really long time. Like, tempers start to flare, like, people start to get angry, and it's really hard to maintain your composure when you're with someone that you know so much about but you know little about when it comes to the idea of living, when it comes to the idea of situational living, because you've never experienced that with them before. So it's really hard to maintain a calm demeanor, especially when you love someone and you care for someone so much and they do something that upsets you, and you know that they know it's going to upset you, or you know that you did something that's going to upset them. you know you guys know each other well enough to know what the button is and why you shouldn't push it, but you find yourself pushing that button because the idea that you care about this person so much, like, when they do something to anger you, you just you explode and you let it all out. Or if you find yourself in a situation where you really didn't care about this person and you're starting to realize that, then you start allowing yourself to get angry at them for the sake of ending that relationship, which super sucks. Like, I really wouldn't wish that on anybody because it's not extremely fair to do things like that. I've done things like that. Like, I get extremely irritated sometimes if I really care about someone because I feel like you should know me well enough to know, like, not to do or say shit like that. And the fact that you even, like, tried me, like, I just snap. Sometimes I snap and I get angry. Yeah. Um some other effects that it can have on mental health is it can bring out, oh, I need to turn this light off. Oh, I can't. Oh, I wish I could turn it. Let me see if I can turn this light off. Oh, I can't turn the light off. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I could turn the light off in here, but I can't. I wish I could because my fucking eyes hurt. Um, One thing that can happen is, like, you can get triggered. You can get triggered extremely fast. Like, a lot of things that you didn't know about yourself can start to come out, like things that have been fermenting in your psyche for a long time. Like this is not the best example, but say you just got into an argument with, like, your favorite family member, your favorite aunt, your favorite grandparent or something, and like, that's just the flip on the switch. Like, you go nuts, and then you find out, like, you get hauled off to a mental institution, and you find out that you have had bipolar disorder for all of your life, but it took that one interaction to let it out. I think that that's an effect that a relationship can have on mental health, is that you start to find things out about your mental health that you wouldn't have found out otherwise. And even though, like, it's a horrible circumstance to find it out in a circumstance like that, it is something that, like, could help you in the long run for the better, because at least now sooner than later, you know exactly what is wrong, and you know exactly what is right, or you know exactly what can cause your ailment to flame up. Um, I have ADHD and personality disorder. So it's like it's really hard sometimes to try to keep that at bay. And I also have OCD and a little bit of PTSD. And I have, like, paranoia really bad, which can sometimes turn into mania. And it's really hard to try to remember, to try to keep all of that under control and to try to keep all of that in check when you're dealing with someone and you're dealing with another person and their personality and their potential mental illnesses or their potential um not birth defects, but like disorders that they were born with too, because it's like it's just like a clash. It's a really big clash, and then trying to explain that to that person, and it's like they get it until it actually happens, until these things like start actually happening. So I'll say like that's an effect, like the idea that it can just flare up at any time or it can come out, or you can find out maybe that you don't have any mental illnesses or you don't have any mental disorders. So it's harder for you to understand that. It's hard for you to understand a partner who does. So that's an effect. Like you can start to lack empathy, you can start to lack compassion for your partner, which is really bad because if you can lack it for your partner, someone that you see every day, you can start to lack it for people in general and stuff. Um, hmm. Effects it has on mental health. It can be extremely exhausting. It can be extremely like strenuous to keep up an emotional relationship or to fall in love with someone, because it's you and them, and unfortunately some people will get rid of all of their friends, or they'll cut all of their friends off. Sometimes maybe even cut entire families off. Like they'll cut off into any contact with someone, with their outside world, just for this person. But then they realize that, well, right now my relationship is extremely exhausting. I'm tired. I want to take a break, even if it's not like a physical break, like telling your partner, like, oh, I want to take a break. Like, you just want to take a break mentally. Well, where are you gonna go now? Because you just got rid of all of the people that you could talk to about your potential, like about your relationship, and they're gone. They're nowhere to be found. They're nowhere around. So it's like, if you're horrible at communication, um maybe you should keep some of your friends on deck. Like maybe you should be okay with the idea of having friends other than your partner, because I'm so sorry, but I hate when people say that their partner is their best friend, because that doesn't sound cute to me. It sounds very miserable and lonely, because if something happens or something goes wrong and you really need a friend, like you need a friend that doesn't have any emotional bias in the sense that they're in love with you, like who are you going to go to? Because you can't go to your partner, your so-called best friend, because they're always going to be biased, and that can start something like sometimes that can even be the end of a relationship if you want to express something the way that you feel and you just do it very honestly, the way that you the way that you would do with your best friend, and they take that the wrong way, then it's like you're dust. Like uh, um so I think that, sorry, I got so off topic, but I think that like the exhaustion piece of being in a relationship can be easily quelled if you can keep some people by your side and you can keep up good communication, because if you are allowed to relieve some of that exhaustion, like it makes it so much better. But um yeah, being exhausted like is an effect that it can have on your mental health. Like you could just be mentally drained. Like some days you're just like, okay, I'm over it. Like I'm tired. I can't do this right now. I you know, what's an example? Like, oh, I've been out to meet my partner's friends for an entire week now. So when we get back home, I just want to sleep. I'm mentally drained. I'm mentally exhausted. And your partner says, well, there's still some people I'd like you to meet back home, and you're just tired. Like, I think things like that can fall into play. Sorry, I don't really remember most of what I said, but like exhaustion and attachment and anger, and maybe even distress. Like I think all of those can be effects for when you get into a relationship, like negative effects, for when you are dedicating your love to someone. Now, some positive effects I would say on your mental health is that it can be a stress reliever. Like, say you've been stressed for so long, you're stressed out about your biology exam, like me. Like, you're stressed out about your biology exam, and your partner offers to help you study. They offer to quiz you. They offer to, maybe instead of you reading this paper, I can read it out loud to you, because you're going to remember the sound of your partner's voice. You're going to remember the tone. You're going to remember how it sounded, how you felt when you heard it. And that can help alleviate the stress of that test. The stress goes away. And then say you pass. That's because you had a really great study partner. You had your partner, like someone that you care about, to help you to alleviate that pain. So being in a relationship can help alleviate mental stress sometimes. Like, it can really help that. It can also help quell some of your mental illnesses and ailments. And I know, like, I'm contradicting myself, but I kind of just want to give like a good to the bad of the things that I said, because it can help you, suppress some of those mental illnesses a little bit. And and I think that's extremely helpful. Like, say you have OCD, and your partner knows that, um every time you walk past a fire hydrant, you have to touch it. You have to touch it. But let's say that you forget and you start to freak out, and your partner grabs your hand and touches it with their hand. And they say, well, now we touched it together, because you're holding my hand, or whatever, like something cute like that, something corny that could help with things like that. Or like, if you have ADHD, like, it would help. Like, if you have a partner that's willing to help you plan things out, or you're like, what's that thing I forgot to do today? And they remind you, like, just being a constant reminder, I think, is helpful. Like, if you have an extremely helpful partner, like, stress relief is one of the things that you'll see within your mental health. Happiness is a big one. And even energy, like, to play off of the exhaustion piece. So, like, happiness and having more energy is something that can occur when you're in a relationship, because if you're in a relationship and your partner takes some of your load, or they keep you on top of your load, and you don't have a load anymore, that leaves you so much time to do so many other things with your time, with your life. And you can have so much more energy, and you can find yourself picking up new hobbies, or hobbies with your partner that you both would enjoy alone. Or just getting out there, like putting yourself out there more, could help a lot. And it can also lead to happiness. Like, a lot of people go their entire lives being miserable, or not really finding out, like, a sense of who they are, until they meet someone that they fall in love with, because that person helps them, like, helps show them, like, this is who you are, this is who you've always been, this is why I'm in love with you, because you are like this. And that can bring you some sort of happiness, just knowing that someone is on your side and someone has your back, and things like that. So I know, like, that wasn't a lot for the positive, but I will say that being in a relationship can be extremely positive, because sometimes you need it. Like, I think some people like to tell themselves, like, I don't need a relationship, I don't need this, I don't need that. But it's okay to need someone. It's okay to need to be in a relationship. It's okay to need love. Like, it's nothing wrong with that, and it's nothing wrong with accepting that and admitting that. And I feel like a lot of people would be so much better off if they would admit, like, I can't be alone ever. Like, I can't be alone for the rest of my life, or I just need a little help. If I could give all of this love that I have in my heart to someone, it would help me so much. And I know that I can help someone else. Like, I think a lot of people need to start owning up to that, and they'll be a lot better for it. Even if sometimes they get some of the effects that were on the worst side, you know, if they get a lot more of the effects that are on the good side than on the worst side, then why not go for it? Like, why not gamble it? Like, I know that that's one of the things that I'll do. Like, unfortunately, I have no problem gambling with my mental health because I feel like sometimes in the long run, like the memory of it and the feeling of being in love is so worth it. And is it worth the cost of my mental health? I mean, shit, I think sometimes it is, even if it's not. But I'm always willing to take that risk and take that chance no matter what. So, like, even if, like, I'm feeling shit or I'm feeling, like, down in the dumps of the idea of being in a relationship, like, I know that I'll never stop pursuing that idea, whether or not, like, I'm stuck on pursuing that idea with one specific person, or I take it out and, like, and I'm willing to open the idea of pursuing it with a new person. Like, I feel like I love the idea of being in love, and I love the idea of caring for someone emotionally, that um I wouldn't mind risking all of the mental health effects for it. Yeah. Sorry, that was actually kind of creepy. But yeah. That's the end of that question, and we're already at 30 fucking minutes. I'm so sorry I'm cussing, and I'm so sorry that this is going to be a long episode. But if you're not doing anything and you just want to listen to me ramble for so long, then you know what? You go off, but I probably don't sound super cute or attractive or amazing right now because I'm disgustingly ill. So, the second question is vegetarian food slash a better lifestyle without meat. I love this question. And I love when people ask me this question because it's like a very short, precise, simple answer, but I could also talk about it for a really long time. So we're going to see what I can pull out of my ass today. Um a lot of people ask me why did I become a vegetarian, and the answer is I have no idea. As I mentioned previously, I have ADHD, so a lot of times I'll make impulsive decisions on the fly, and they're impulsive long term decisions. Like, and it's really crazy. Like, so I randomly made the decision to become a vegetarian. And sorry, I feel like somebody's literally watching me at the door, but it could be that I'm just tweaking out because I'm sick. What was I saying? I randomly became vegetarian. Like, one day I was thinking, and um I was thinking about myself and my life, and like I started reading a lot of these books from the library about being a vegetarian, and I was like, well, maybe I should be a vegetarian. Like, this seems really chill. This seems cool. We don't eat a lot of meat in my family anyway, so like, why not? And I became a vegetarian. Um, I was like, okay, chill. So I just literally walked up to my grandma and I was like, Granny, I want to be a vegetarian. And she was like, okay. And I was like, okay, period. So she started cooking me vegetarian cuisine. Like, she started making me things with no meat, no animal byproducts. So, like, no chicken broth, no, lard, like lard with pork fat or anything like that. Even though she never used it with pork fat because we didn't eat pork. But yeah, like, nothing like that. So um, she started off cooking me like a lot of dishes that had like rice in them and like easy dishes like that until we started getting like a taste of what I liked as a vegetarian. And I started doing a lot more research about the vegetarian diet, about what I could and couldn't eat. And I chose to be vegetarian instead of vegan because my family is not that rich and we're extremely poor. So vegetarian was much more cheaper than being vegan. And also, I couldn't give up the idea of dairy and cheese. So, yes, I do eat eggs. And no, eggs is not meat. I'm so sorry. Literally pick up a book. Yes, an egg is a little is what could have been a little baby chick, but it's not a baby chick anymore because If you let an egg sit for a long time, it won't be able to hatch because of what they feed the chicken and the pesticides that they put in the chicken or whatever, and able to make the egg an egg. Um, yeah, like this sounds really horrible, but it's like I don't know. But it's not meat. I'm so sorry. It's not meat. Shut up. It's not meat. It can be a source of protein, but protein isn't always meat. Okay. I'm pretty sure you could get protein from like a sweet potato or something. That's not meat. So an egg is not meat. It's fine. Literally, it's fine. If you're a vegetarian, it's fine. There's different kinds of vegetarians. And you could be a raw vegetarian, which is leaning more towards vegan, or you could literally be, I think, I might be wrong, but I think I'm an omni vegetarian or something like that, meaning that I still indulge in the idea of dairy products. So yeah, I could still eat dairy. I couldn't give up the idea of cheese or yogurt or ice cream because it made me really depressed thinking about it. Even though there are a lot of vegan alternatives that are pretty good, I just don't have vegan alternatives that are pretty good money because they're really expensive. So yeah, there's that. Um, I don't know why I became vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for about 4 years now, going on five. Woohoo! I'm probably going to be a vegetarian for the rest of my life. I don't really see myself at a time where I would eat meat, at least not on purpose. If someone served me something that was cooked in like meat fat or something that has meat in it and I can't tell, that's not my fault. It doesn't. I started to realize to give myself some grace for my diet that doesn't take away from my diet because I didn't know that it was in there. And even if I ask and they decide to still give me false information, that's not my fault. If I can't taste it, that's not my fault. Now, if I can clearly taste it or see it, I will sometimes pick around it or I'll just tell them like to remake it in general because, I have a specific diet that I want to stick to. So I'm gonna stick to it, and I hope that if you are deciding to become a vegetarian, or if you're looking to the idea of a vegetarian and vegan lifestyle, that to don't be so hard on yourself and to give yourself some grace because yes, all of those people like in the books or their cookbooks or their fitness books or their social media pages, like some of them can be disgustingly harsh with the idea of how the diet is supposed to go. But I want to tell you right now to give yourself some grace because you can still be a bad vegan. You can still be unhealthy as a vegan. You can still be unhealthy as a vegetarian. You can be unhealthy as a pescatarian, and you can be unhealthy as an omnivore, carnivore, whatever the fuck it's called. Um, so just remember to like be easy on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Like it's okay. I'm not hard on myself at all about being a vegetarian. Like because I already know like I'm not supposed to eat meat. That's not being hard on myself. It is like sometimes like I'm trying to think. Like, I think when I first started, like, being vegetarian, like, I think I went to a restaurant and they messed up my burger order and I bit into it and it was a regular burger and I literally almost cried. But then I remember, like, that's not your fault. That's their fault. They know that they should have given you the impossible patty, but they gave you a regular burger. That's fucked up. Go back and get your order fixed. And it's things like that where it's like remember to yes be kind to people but also if someone messes up your order and like you are sticking to a strict diet or a specific diet, like let them know because that takes away from trying to give yourself some grace and trying to be kind to yourself because someone did that to you rather than accepting the fact that so hey, someone got my order wrong, or hey, this is the wrong ingredient, this has meat in it, like things like that. It's just something to keep an eye on. I will say that yes, I do think that I've had a better lifestyle without meat. Like I will say this might sound really weird, but I tend to get full faster now that I'm a vegetarian than before. But that's also because I do like indulge in a lot of starch. It's really easy to indulge in a lot of starch like rice, potatoes, noodles, wheat, things like that, like bread. So you can get full a lot faster, and one thing that I did read was that, like, once you switch to a vegetarian or a vegan lifestyle, it proportionalizes your body, um, which means like your fat kind of disperses like all across your body in a proportional way. And I think that's very true. Like, I did start to see that. I wasn't expecting to immediately lose weight as soon as I became a vegetarian because, like I said, like sometimes I'm a bad vegetarian and my family is really poor, so I wasn't really expecting to eat, a vegetarian diet and overnight be skinny or whatever. And there's things like that. Sorry. Also, I I will say that um when I would overeat, when I was eating meat, I would feel like shit. And I sometimes still do overeat, which is really bad, and I need to work on that, or I'll eat really late at night, and like I'll still feel horrible, but I won't feel as bad as I did when I was eating meat. Um, I will say that it does keep me on my toes, like it does keep me a little more aware of what I'm eating. So I do thoroughly enjoy being a vegetarian. I do think that my lifestyle has changed for the better. Being a vegetarian, and it keeps me more aware of things. Um, Especially given for the fact that I became a vegetarian just because, like, it is helpful to start rearing towards being a vegetarian just because you can, and also like acknowledging how bad the food production system is in America specifically, because that's where we are, and how it can be extremely harmful to some animals and even the plants. Like, it's just really hard, but we have to eat, so whatevs, I guess. Vegetarian food, if you guys are extremely interested in vegetarian food or vegetarian recipes, I'll try to put some in like the little comment section or like suggestion box section on the channel. Sorry. So that way you guys can see some of my favorite recipes or some of the recipes that I started out with. I will say that vegetarian food does not have to be disgusting. It can still be amazing. It can still be good if you are black. I know that there's a lot of black people who think that vegetarian food has to be horrible. You're just taking one thing away. You're not taking away your seasoning, you're not taking away your cooking, you're not taking away like the how you were trained to cook by your parents or your grandparents, or even classically trained, like as a chef. You're not taking that away. You're only taking one ingredient away, which is meat. So you can still make your food really delicious, because if you know that things that you have eaten or things that you have made are delicious, then you know that your food is still going to be good. I just wish that they would get that idea out of their head, like the fear out of their head, like, oh, the food's going to be disgusting because they're vegetarian. But um if you've been knowing how to cook your entire life, I don't understand why you would think that. Like, not to say that that's a dumb thought, but like when you sit about it and think about it too hard, like it's kind of silly to think like, oh, all of a sudden the food's gonna be nasty just because there's no meat in it, or it's not gonna make me full, or it's not gonna keep me satiated. Well, how are you keeping yourself satiated without the meat? Like, you've made side dishes before, you've made combination dishes before, you made one pot meals before, one pan meals before, like, you've made a numerous amount of dishes before that sometimes really don't include that much meat. Like, in the instance, like, the meat is kind of the side dish at this point, so you know that your food is still going to be good. I will say with restaurants, it can be extremely hit or miss, and it can be extremely expensive, so keep that in mind. But being a vegetarian, I will say, if you're someone who eats out a lot, being a vegetarian will keep you on your toes, because your options are limited, which kind of sucks, but it also gives you more of an avenue to be more decisive and precise with what you're choosing on the menu. And also, it can kind of deter you from going out to eat and encourage you to cook at home, because you know exactly how you would like it to be made, and you know exactly how you would eat it, and you know that it would be delicious when you make it and when you eat it. Yeah. So that's that question. Okay. I hope that answered the question well enough. Um And if it didn't, I can always go for this topic again if need be with, like a guest or something. Okay. How it feels to be. Oh, oh, my side hurts. How it feels to grow up being a queer black woman. It was shit. If I'm gonna be real, like it was horrible. I was raised Christian Baptist with a hint of Muslim. So we were always like religiously um different, like religiously ambiguous, I guess. I don't know if that's like the correct term to say, but we always experimented in the idea of different religions, like, or at least those three for the most part. But my mom tried to experiment with different religions, like Catholicism and stuff like that. So yeah, but the point is that we were raised heavily religious, and as everyone knows, heavily religious people have a qualm with gays. They have a qualm with queers. They have a qualm with the LGBTQ plus community. They always have because of a white man's Bible, but I'm not gonna get into that. Um, but when I first realized it, I was extremely young, and um, yeah, I was extremely young, and contrary to what a lot of people believe about the LGBTQ plus community, I did not find out that I was in the community through sex. I found out through emotion, which really sucks. I hate that people think that it's only sex and that all we do is have sex and that we can only find out that we like each other through sex, and that's not true. You can find out through emotion. You can find out through just talking to someone. You can find out through just looking at someone. And it makes me really uncomfortable when a lot of people say that they want to experiment with their sexuality and they want to experiment with what they like, and when they say that, they mean through sex. Like, they don't mean through emotional connection. Like, of course you're probably never gonna really get the true answer to that if all you're doing is having sex with people and letting them go. Especially if you're a person who's always had sex with people and let them go, you're never gonna find out that way, because this is just like a common thing for you. This is just like, it's whatever. It's like putting on your shoes, but you're not taking the time to try to see if you can actually develop an emotional long term feeling for someone outside of the normal straight relationship. Yeah. But for me, it was really bad because I was, black and Christian Baptist, raised with a hint of Muslim. So the idea of even thinking about that was seen as taboo. Like, it was seen as ludicrous, as fuck. Like like how could you ever think to be that? Like, how could you ever think to do that? And it did kind of like skew my brain to be like a little homophobic. And then once I started breaking out of that, I started realizing, like, hey, I think that I'm not homophobic because I'm a homo. Like, I'm gay. Like whoa. And then I found out that I was, and I didn't tell anyone. And then, like, it was confirmed when I started to have a crush on one of the girls who was bullying me in middle school, which is crazy to say out loud. But yeah, like, I had a crush on her, and no matter how much she bullied me, like, I just was like, oh my gosh, like, she's so gorgeous. Like, I would love to talk to her. Like, I would love to hold her hand and stuff. And then I would be thinking, like, well, holding hands with another girl, like, that's gay. And then I was like, oh shit, like, maybe you're gay, but you still like boys. So I don't know. So I came out as bisexual, um, but not to my family. And then my sister outed me, which is really unfortunate. I didn't really get to out myself. And my mom she was like a little confused, but she was extremely accepting. Like, my family was like, whoa, like, that's kind of crazy. Um, Whatever, but they never like hated me for it. Like, I was actually one of the few people who got lucky with a family who was accepting of me, even if, like, in their heads they weren't really accepting with the idea of being LGBTQ plus. But my mom's very accepting. My mom's an ally, yes queen. And so are my sisters. Like, But it's because, well, one of my sisters, my other sister isn't, which is like, okay, whatever. Love you though, queen. But yeah, like they actually took the time to get educated, like, and when talked about it to them, like they would take the time to really listen to what I was saying, which I really appreciate. So growing up in that environment, like it was really hard with the outside community because of course you had those people who would call you slurs and call you gay, and every time you made friends with a girl they'd be like, oh, like don't have a crush on me, haha, like things like that, which was really annoying and irritating. And then there were some girls who were thinking that they were within the community, so they were trying to experiment with you or with me. And it's like, no, like that's not, it's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm down for, you know. And I think, especially because I'm pansexual now. I've been pansexual for 7 years, like at least out, and to my knowledge, before that I was only um, a bisexual. And then I was able to come out as pansexual, which was amazing because I finally was able to come out on my own, which I enjoyed. But I think for me, like the way that my sexuality means to me, it means a lot. And growing up, of course, when people would find out, you know, that I was anything other than straight, like I would get the disgusting comments like, oh, so like would you be down for a threesome? Like, oh my gosh, like yes, threesome. Like I know you like girls. My girlfriend is looking for this, or my boyfriend is looking for this, or hey, like maybe we could add a third to this or whatever. Which I found extremely disgusting because it just gets back to my point of straight people think that, and sometimes even people that are within the community, unfortunately, like they think that just because you're within the community, like you're a nasty, horny sex freak, which is crazy because there's literally asexuals in the LGBTQ plus community, like LGBTQIA plus. A stands for asexual. So it's like the idea that they think that just because you are within the community means that you're gay. Like you're not gay. Sorry, that was dumb. I didn't mean to say you're gay. Like of course you are. uh, I don't mean of course you are. I'm sorry. Whatever. What I'm trying to say is they automatically think that just because you're within the community, that means that you're down for any and everything and down to do any and everyone. And that's one of the things that I grew up with people assuming that just because I was my sexuality was different, that means that I was sexually open to a lot of things, and I'm really not. Like I would never have a threesome ever. And I know a lot of people say never, but I know that if I ever did partake in having a threesome or a multiple sex partner thing, like I would never have a man there because I would never put my sexuality as like a sex trick for a man. I feel like I would never do that. I don't like the idea of that. I don't like the idea of seeing people seeing my sexuality as a sex trick. It's not a sex trick. It's who I am, and it's who I'm always gonna be. So growing up, it was really disgusting, like especially for young people to even think of things like that, and to think that you would be down for something like that. Like it was really crazy to me. Um, and also like the bullying was freaking nuts. Like it was literally crazy. Like you guys are gonna bully me because I know exactly who I am. And yes, you may be involved with religious groups who don't approve of that, but like you're literally gonna bully me and like call me a disgusting faggot. And that's like, whoa, that's literally crazy. Like, or even seeing some of my friends like just be called that word and stuff like that, like it was triggering. Like it was crazy. And it made it even harder, like being black and being a woman, because it's like, jokingly people would be like, oh my gosh, black, gay, and a woman, oh my gosh, like the odds are stacked against you. And it's like they really are. Like these are three things that I didn't choose on my own. Like they just kind of landed on me. And I have to find the way to manage and deal with it the best way that I can. And I decided to manage and deal with it with love and acceptance, like of who I am and who I'm gonna be until I die. And I'm really happy that I did, because I'm stronger for it, and it made me stronger for it, especially growing up, just knowing exactly who I was and being able to keep my identity, like for me, to keep it safe and to keep myself sane. Like, just knowing my identity was amazing for me. And I recommend a lot of people, like, if you're struggling with your identity, like, take a second alone without any outside influence to really think about it, because it helps. Like, it really helps to really think about it, because then you can further protect it, and you can decide whether or not that's for the sharing of anyone else, or if it's just something that you know about yourself on the inside. Because yeah, and I'm really glad that I was able to have a support system for it growing up. Inside of my home, it really sucked that the support system outside was only limited to friends, because a lot of other people will say, like, oh, I don't really understand that, or, well, that's disgusting, or they'll call you slurs, or they'll try to make sexual advances on you, because they just assume that being LGBTQ plus automatically means that you're like a sexual deviant, which is not true. Um, so I would say growing up on the inside of my home, it was amazing. Like, I loved it. Like, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Sometimes my mom would give me like pride stuff that seemed borderline homophobic. Like, girl, literally room decked out in pride stuff for June. But I love the support, and I love that she tries so hard. And like, not even that she tries, she does. Like, and same with my sister. Like, I really love that I was accepted by family, and that they don't really question me, or they don't say any like disgusting comments or whatever towards me, or towards anyone within the community, because they know that would make me upset. Like, I'm really glad that they're not extremely disgusting. Yeah, at least on the sexuality part. Still working on the gender part. When they say certain things, pissed, phone call, hung up, literally walking away. But we're not gonna get into that. I didn't come on here to bash my family. I love my family. And if you guys bash my family, I'm gonna hate you, because I love my family. Yeah. Inside of the home, it was amazing. It was great growing up. Outside of the home, it was shit. It was horrible. And I feel like it still is. Like, a lot of times I have to spend so much time explaining my sexuality and what my sexuality means to other people, and I've gotten to a point where sometimes I don't even do it anymore. Like, I know it might sound horrible, but I'm not your educator. Like, yes, it is my sexuality and stuff, but also I shouldn't feel like I shouldn't spend my entire life explaining something to you that you could look up for yourself if you're really interested, because it's like you're not really interested. In my head, it just kind of feels like you only want to know about it as a joke or whatever. So I've like taken it upon myself to kind of stop doing mass education for people, because if you were really that interested, and if you cared that much, you would look it up for yourself. You would find out more for yourself. And then you would ask me, and then you would talk to me, because sometimes it just feels like people really only want to know for a joke. They don't want to know seriously. And that's how it was growing up too. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. Like, to make a long story short, it was amazing in my home. It was horrible outside of my home and outside of my friends. And it still is. So, yeah. Um, this is close to an hour. I think, just for the sake of my OCD, I'm literally like, we're just gonna take a moment of silence or something for all of those topics, moment of silence. I think we're going to do a moment of silence every episode, but moment of silence for being LGBTQ plus, moment of silence for being vegetarian, and moment of silence for being extremely mentally scarred from every relationship that I've been in. I'm sorry, that wasn't silence. Okay, we're going to start now. Okay. For the sake of ending this off on an hour, I have 40 seconds left. I think that I could conjure up something in 40 seconds to say to you guys. Like I said at the beginning, I will be trying to make sure that the episodes are recorded at least on Saturdays and edited on Sundays. So hopefully, like Saturday and Sunday will be the upload day for the weeks. I'm really, really glad that you guys stuck around. And I probably talked to myself. I'll probably only have 4 listeners, but thank you so much. I love all of you guys, no matter who you are. And kissies. Bye.